for those of you listening on the pod.
Welcome into hour 2. All right. Number 3 on the list is Savion Williams. All right, third-round pick, Savion Williams, pick 87 for TCU in the 2025 NFL Draft. Adds explosive depth to the Packers receiving core, known for his versatility and yards after catch ability in college. Williams has been very limited in camp due to recovering from shoulder surgery. If he plays, this game is a chance for him to showcase his big play potential. Look for him on short routes and screens to begin creating momentum going into the regular season. Has anybody heard whether or not we think he may be able to play tomorrow? Because he's another one that did not participate in joint practice, right? It's probably going to be a long shot for him. Would you guys agree with that? Has anybody in the chat heard anything about Savion potentially playing tomorrow? I imagine it's probably going to be another week, though.
I would think so. I haven't heard anything. And another one you might want to err on the side of caution, right? We know Savion's another high ceiling kind of guy or no ceiling kind of guy, versatile receiver. Was kind of banged up with that shoulder. Even when we drafted him, we knew that. Picked up a couple other little injuries here throughout OTAs and camps. So as bad as you want to see that guy on the field, arguably starting and, playing 30 to 40 snaps, I think there's, good justification to maybe hold him out another week so you don't set him back any further.
Yeah, and Holmes MD1 here says Savion is out. I'm assuming he's seen it somewhere that he's definitely out. And it would be a stretch, right, Emilio, that he didn't practice in joint practice and all of a sudden go out there and play, I would imagine. So,
I thought you were going to say.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
I'm going to say because our resident doctor said that he's out. But no, I think that's the case. I feel a little bit better about Savion than I did about Lloyd, though. Like last year when Lloyd was kind of coming in injured and everything, I feel like Savion's going to kind of right this ship and get him back on track. Honestly, at this point, with all the other wide receivers out, we could potentially need him, to sort of step up and play a little bit of a role beginning of the season. But, yeah, keep him out, keep him off the turf. If he bounces weird, if he lands spikes off the turf weird, let's just wait till we get back on Lambeau Field and then start our season.
Yeah. I agree, and it seems like the chat agrees with that too. I think it's Ron in here Ron Samuel says that shoulder better heal or he's going to lose a year. That's the last thing we want, right? Is it to be a complete redshirt year? So, yeah,
you do that, you're going to get your ass kicked in that.
I imagine he'll probably be out, but again, I had to put him on the list because I was holding out hopes that maybe we would see him tomorrow and kind of get our first glance at him. Number 4 on the list, wide receiver Mecole Hardman. Veteran wide receiver Mecole Hardman signed as a free agent in March 2025, is fighting for a roster spot after a challenging start to preseason. The former Kansas City Chief, known for his Super Bowl heroics and return specialist skills, had a rough outing in week 1 with drops and muff punts. Watch how he bounces back in Indianapolis. His speed could be a weapon on gadget plays or special teams, but consistency will be crucial to secure his place in Green Bay. We were just talking, Tim, about Savion. Kind of feels like there's a decent chance Savion starts on the pup or something, right? If that's the case, Mecole Hardman probably going to get that roster spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
and a better opportunity for Malik Heath to maybe sneak on to this team as well. I think that's true. But, I like that you put Mecole here, number 4, because he's certainly in the top 5 of guys that I want to see this week. You talk about a bounce-back game. This guy's due. We know what he's capable of. We know what we saw last week that, just didn't look like Mecole Hardman out there on the field. Yeah. And I think if you look at some of the tape from, joint practice yesterday, he certainly looked a hell of a lot better, at least from the few reps that I saw out there on the practice field. So, the ones aren't going to be running. Hopefully we get a good, dose of Mecole Hardman in this game tomorrow. And I hope he doesn't have any drops. And I hope if he's inside that 10-yard line, he just lets that ball drop instead of catching it.
Caught a touchdown yesterday in joint practice, Emilio. So maybe he's looking to rebound here, obviously.
Yep. Yeah, you got to go out there. You only got 2 more games and a couple practices left to show your spot on this team. You got to make the most of it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. All right, moving along. Number 5. Well, actually, let's just hit the grade last week for Mecole Hardman was a 43.0. So, yeah, I agree with Joseph here. Mecole literally just needs to do nothing to beat last week. There you go. And then, of course, his career PFF grade starting in 2019, 70. Yeah, that's right. 70, 61, 81, 52, 51. And then, of course, just got the 43 in this very, very, very young year here. So I wonder if that's preseason season grades. It might be.
I was going to say he's only had 260
snaps are very small. That's his preseason grades in the past. So so the last 2 years he hasn't got out of the 50s in preseason grades. So maybe it's something that preseason he struggled a little bit. Could be. Nonetheless, though, just keep an eye out for him. This is the guy. I'm telling you, Tim, I need the Here's a Guy sound drop just whenever it's convenient for you, sir. No rush at all.
Here's
you just
the
make
guy.
that. Baron Sorrell last week.
Here's the guy.
We remember in the draft process, Emilio, 2 things stood out, right?
He was the best guy around.
Yes,
3 things, including that, right? The scouting report from Greg Cosell, and I want to say it was, his name's escaping me now. We use his scouting report a lot. Anyway, scouting guru. They all said he uses his hands really well, right? And the other thing that stood out to me was obviously the comment that Goody made about when they interviewed Texas players, you could take one teammate with you. Who would it be? They all said Baron Sorrell, right? Man, last week, and it was just one preseason game. I'm going to continue to say that, and I know it's going to make people mad, but that's how I roll. Bro, he looked like he belonged in the NFL.
Here's the guy.
It was absolutely awesome. So, 4th-round rookie edge rusher Baron Sorrell, drafted from Texas 2025, poised to make an impact in the pass rush rotation. With his quick first step and relentless motor, Sorrell racked up pressures in college and has translated that to camp. Against the Colts offensive line, keep an eye on his bend around the edge and trademark hand skills. Disrupted plays here could earn him more snaps alongside veterans like Rashawn Gary, obviously LVN, those cats. Again, the thing I want to see is bend. I want to see a little more bend, Emilio. You know what I mean? I want to see that speed aspect. We've seen him. He's stout, and he knows how to use it. He knows how to get into the tackle's chest, and very, very just savvy at just using his hands to swipe and get around. I want to see a little bend around the edge. I want to see a little versatility. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it does. I just don't know if it's going to be him that's going to show us that. I think that's right up Colin Oliver's, speed, right up his alley. I really do think – I think he could do it, obviously, but I just love watching his hand work. His hand usage, his hand work it really is impressive for a
How about these hands?
We telling you,
they're so quick. They're so quick. One decision, and they're strong. They're powerful. They can get the other guy's hands off you, get him out of position. That would be cool though, like you said, to get a little bit more bend out of him. I'm just not sure if that's his go-to style, and I'm fine with it. If it doesn't end up being that way, perfect. Use your hands, stay vertical, see what's going on in the play. Don't get yourself out of the play, because that's the other thing. You run that arc, you could run yourself right out of the play, open an alley. So if he's a heady kind of smart rusher, I'm cool with that too.
Yeah, no, I think the happy medium is just marry some of that with the skills he already has. Right, you'd like to see some of that footwork, a little bit of bend. Add that to his game is going to make him that much more well-rounded. But at the end of the day, it's like, Clayton, you're a baseball guy. You got a hitter with an unorthodox batting stance. Sometimes the worst thing you can do is mess with his approach. Just let him do what works for him. And, if Baron Sorrell has good hand technique and good power, I don't think we need to overly stress too much of the bend or too much of the other attributes, if it's going to take away from what he does so well.
Yeah. And again, it was only one game, but his overall defensive grade was a 68.4. His pass rush grade, 87.9. That's wild, right? Tackle grade, 71.4. He finishes really, really well. Where he struggled was his run defense. They had him a 40 there. So now at Texas, it felt like it was somewhat the opposite there. I know Texas A&M, they really keyed in on stopping the run. I don't know enough about Texas as a group collectively, if they keyed in on the run or really let those guys pass rush. But nonetheless, want to see that run defense grade, climb a little bit. And I completely agree with you guys, what you're saying. I think y'all made a great rebuttal there. And like, hey, look, if that's not who he is to be a bendy guy, don't try to force him to be. Let him play to his strengths.
Yeah.
And love the analogy you used, Tim, about baseball, because there's so many coaches that screw that up. And there's a reason you turn on Major League Baseball and not 2 batters have the same batting stance, right?
That's right.
So
true. Same thing with a golf swing, right? all the golfers out there. You spend all that time at the range, and you got an instructor, and you're paying $200 an hour for tips. And sometimes the best tip is do it how it feels natural. Whatever your approach is, let's not try and reinvent the wheel and just do what you do best.
Tim, I can't clean up my slice. I just turn myself like 20 degrees left and just
you just play the slice, right?
Yeah, I just turn right into it.
You know how I cleaned up my slice? I was like, this golf thing ain't for me, man.
Yeah, you closed the pizza box and said, Mandy, get me another one.
Put the golf club down and picked up a daddy soda. Said, to hell with this.
I'm going to try the stuffed crust this time.
Yeah, let me get that slice, Mandy, please.
No, it's a great point, though, man. And again, that's what I mean by that Ben comment is it's the only thing I see lacking, and it's early. But it's like, man, if he shows he can speed rush on the outside and get a little more bend, the way he uses his hands, the power he's got, man, it's the sky's the limit for Barron Sorrell. It's a 4th-round pick, guys, and I know people go, how often do those hit? When your name's Brian Gutekunst, they hit pretty damn often. We've seen it over and over and over again. So look for him. Number 6, I know y'all going to get excited about this. Defensive tackle Nazir Stackhouse. Undrafted free agent Nazir Stackhouse signed up. The 2025 NFL Draft has emerged as a surprise in the defensive trenches. 6'3", 320-pound run stuffer went unselected, but quickly impressed Packer scouts with his anchor strength and gap control. That sounds like a move that Jacob uses at the office. As a roster bubble player, watch his ability to clog lanes.
That's my job.
His ability to clog lanes against Indianapolis interior runs. A dominant showing could make him the team's not draft pick equivalent. So Nas last week, according to PFF, did not have a good game. 48.7 run defense grade of 51.1, pass rush grade of 54. I seen a few plays where he flashed, and one in particular where it was a 4th down run, 4th and short, and he splits a double team, reroutes the running back, and I think it might have been J.J. Enagbare that actually got the tackle that stopped the play. But boy, oh boy, Nas is the one that broke that up. I don't expect Nazir Stackhouse to be a great pass rusher. What I want to see him do is get in there and be able to anchor. When you do go to a jam front, when you go to a 5-man front, if you want like a modified 5-2 look against a run-heavy 12 personnel or something like that, show me that you can continue to do what you've already shown, right? You don't have to, you ain't got to reinvent the wheel here. Now, it's just interesting. Tim, he feels like from what we've seen, he's a slam dunk to make the 53, but this guy's undrafted. Like he literally just leapfrogged Warren Brinson on the depth chart. It seemed like 10 minutes into training camp,
Yeah, it's hard to look at Stack and not see TJ Slayton's direct replacement, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about a 0 or a 3 tech guy, like you said, somebody that's going to help you in the run. Probably isn't going to jump off the charts as a pass rusher, but you're not necessarily asking him to do that. You're asking him to be big and strong and, plug those gaps in the run fit. And, he's a raw talent, like you said, UDFA, but he's a Georgia boy, right? We love our Bulldogs up here in Green Bay, and especially defensive side of the ball. And there's a lot of reasons to be excited about Stack. It's going to be fun. This is another guy we got to watch tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon in this preseason game for sure. I think it's fair to say, like, as of right now, it feels like, man, this guy's making the 53 for sure. But you'd like to see him put another good performance together here. He's looked good in camp. PFF didn't like him last week. I would have been a little bit nicer than PFF was with his grades. All the more reason for him to have a great performance tomorrow and really prove why he's here. I think this could be, one of our better UDFA pickups in the last couple of years when it's all said and done.
All right, because he absolutely needs to show up if he wants to make the roster. If he doesn't, it's not like he has a draft pick to fall back on that. Hopefully they keep me because I'm a 7th rounder. No, man, you're going out to make a living to get that paycheck. That's why you're out there right now. And he's been showing up so far. Let's keep it up. Obviously, the grades don't reflect that, but I do think he was in on a couple of those I didn't give him credit for.
Yeah, we got breaking news here, guys. Tim, breaking news. You heard that? Ron Sample says Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams share a straw drinking beers.
Get ready to go.
Heard it from the fan. All right, moving along. Number 7, Tyron Hopper. Boys,
here's a guy.
This dude right here, man, I want him to break into that base 4.3 so bad. So bad. It's a 3rd-round pick. Entering his second year after being drafted in the third round of 2024 from Missouri, linebacker Tyron Hopper is looking to build on a rookie campaign that consisted of limited snaps. His sideline-to-sideline speed and tackling in space make him a versatile piece in Jeff Hafley's defense. In this preseason tilt, observe his coverage skills against tight ends and running backs, as he is already known as a thumper. Improved instincts could lock him in as a starter in Hafley's 4-3 base. Now, you guys know last week, boys, 88.6 PFF grade off 35 snaps. Run defense grade 79.6, tackle grade 81.7, pass rush only 60, coverage grade 75.8. That is not normal. Now, we'll see what he does tomorrow. But I don't know about you guys. I want to see Tyron Hopper get 40-plus snaps tomorrow. I don't want him to come off the field, Emilio. I want that dude to stay on the field and show us what he can do and see if he solidifies what he did last week. We got to seriously start thinking about, I know he's more of a mock type backer, but how can we fit him into that 4-3? Because Isaiah Simmons struggled last week. He recovered really well, rebounded really well yesterday at joint practices, right? Tyron Hopper had a sack in that joint practice, by the way, we have to mention. Isaiah McDuffie's in the lead right now as that third linebacker. But, man, Goody's sitting back there going, a half. I know McDuffie was your boy at BC, but Emilio, this is a third-round pick we spent on this kid, and he's flashing right now.
Yeah, I mean, you at some point you got to get him out there on the field and let him rep, let him play. It was Baldy or GM Shuffle. They were talking. I mean, if the dude picked in the first round was so good, why is he not on that original team that picked him, right? And that's kind of where I was with sort of Isaiah Simmons. It's like if he's been around to a couple different teams, picked in the first round, 8th overall, top 10. Why hasn't that worked out? And maybe you already have what you need on the team and you're looking at him right now in Tyron Hopper. I think that's an absolute possibility. But he can't do it from the sideline. So I do really want to see him get out there. And if they're only going to bring him out because he's going to be the dot carrier or whatever, let's get a second helmet and let this kid play a little, outside backer and let him get on the field with the other two.
Yeah, Tim, I've been excited about what Isaiah Simmons has done in camp up to this point. I've also been excited about, hey, we got McDuffie back for pennies on the dollars, 2-year extension. But both of those guys, if Tyron Hopper's a stud, both of those guys are the definition of a progress stopper, right?
Oh, I would agree, especially say McDuffie, right? Because you know what you're getting with him. And I would basically figure Zay McDuffie's a lock, right? Roster lock, like you said, what we got him for, what he brings to the table. With Tyron Hopper, I agree with the statement. Like, let's Max Crosby this guy. Let's put him out there 100% of the time that he's available and really see what we got. Because last year we didn't get to see much of him. It's part of his progress to develop, and you don't develop if you're standing on the sidelines, holding onto your shoulder pads watching the game. So I'm with you, Clay. I say get him out there early, get him out there often. Put the green dot on him if you can. Definitely have him out there as your mic, and he's got the second best hair on the football team next to Xavier McKinney.
Oh,
so,
yeah,
I mean, like the swag is strong with Tyron Hopper. So I'd like to see him out there, man. Let's go.
Progress Hopper. I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. And I agree with what Coach Lynn is saying. Hopper is a mock. Like he screams mock. But Coach, don't you think that preseason, this is the time to see if he can play a little Sam. This is the time to see if he can play a little Will, right? We know what he can do at mock. We know that's his natural fit. And here's the other thing.
Lock him up. Let him play a little edge too. Why not?
And if you go to our base 4-3 last year, there were significant snaps, maybe not the majority, but there were significant snaps where McDuffie was playing mock and they had Cooper in the Sam. They had Quay in the Will. It's very, very interchangeable in that regard too, right? So I think you could still work him into that base 4-3. Now, what you're noticing is what we're talking about in terms of deployment is Isaiah Simmons. They're really, really trying to force him into that Sam role and see if he can play that Sam role in the 4-3, right? Yeah. And whether or not that works out, who knows? But I do feel comfortable saying Quay or both Quay or our boy Adrian Cooper could play Sam. They both could. Let's see if Hopper can play a little bit of that role too, because the other reality is once you establish this guy's just a mock, he's always going to be in the middle of that 4-3. now you become predictable to other coaches, right? You can kind of key in, okay, we know he's not going to do this. And what did we hear yesterday? Tyron Hopper got a sack. That tells me they were firing him on a linebacker blitz, right? Well, your mock typically isn't, you don't think of a mock being that fire guy in the middle. You think of him being someone who can, cover the tight end down the seam, play that deep third in the Tampa 2, right, deep third center, but also you're looking for a gap destroyer, right? So going to be interesting, man, for sure. Yeah. All right, we got to address this real quick. Holmes coming here hot with the all caps. Quay is our mic. What are you guys talking about?
Listening anyway.
What are you guys talking about? They move all of them around all over the place. It's not the 90s. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was responding to Coach saying Quay is a Sam.
Gotcha.
They all need to be everything.
Exactly.
You've got to be able to play at least two of those spots, right? You got to be able to play, stronger weak side and in the middle,
right?
At the very least.
And if you've got a guy that's heady enough to handle Mike, but also be able to play Sam and come on, like if he is our backup Mike and is still an athletic freak and can play linebacker, perfect. Put him in and just take the green dot off the back. It's not like, we need him in there specifically at Mike. If he's the better athlete, then put him in.
Yeah. See, that's the thing with Simmons. I like Simmons to an extent, but I mean, if you told me Tyron Hopper or Isaiah Simmons as a backup Mike, or a third string Mike, I'm going to go with Tyron Hopper. I don't care. I'm going to go with the youth. I'm going to go with the higher ceiling for sure.
Definitely. All right. And I know some people hear mock and they think it just means green dot, right? And
no, it doesn't.
It's simply not the case. Yeah. And I'm not saying Holmes or anybody else is saying that in the chat. I'm just, again, like Holmes said, it's not the 90s anymore. But now is the time, though, to try these guys out at different positions and kind of get a little bit on tape there. And again, when I say a little bit, guys, 35 snaps last week, that's not a little bit. That's a whole lot of tape to really dissect and go through. So number 8, Isaiah Simmons, free agent addition. Isaiah Simmons signed in April, brings athleticism and positional flexibility to the linebacker group. The former top 10 pick has shown flashes during camp, but struggled in last week's debut versus the Jets. Watch for his coverage prowess in Indianapolis. With 4 solo tackles already in the preseason, Simmons could prove invaluable in pass defense. Again, I think they're going to try to see if it is still a superpower for him to be able to cover the tight end, maybe put him at Sam a little bit more. I don't see them trying to move him around much. I think they're trying to go, okay, is this a guy that if we get a little banged up on the defensive side of the ball, specifically at linebacker, can we just count on him to play 4-3 Sam for us? That's what it feels like. They're really just saying, show us you can do that first, right, is what it feels like. And again, last week he did struggle, guys. It was ugly. You might want to turn your head. 29.4. Coverage grade, 27.9. Tackle grade, 27.8. And that may seem extreme, but man, he made the highlight reel for all the wrong reasons. There was times that there was ball carriers in space and he just completely whiffed, took a horrible angle. Other times he got completely turned around in coverage. It looked ugly. It really did. Hopefully he rebounds this week because he does seem like a great guy, and you could tell Adrian Cooper kind of gravitated toward him in camp. You could tell they really like this guy in the locker room. But again,
I saw that with Quay as well, like a real good connection with the linebackers in general. Clearly Isaiah Simmons is a great teammate and a great person. The question is, does he fit that mold, X's and O's on the field for us, right?
Yeah, it doesn't win you Lombardis, does it, Tim? Being a good person, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. You got anything to add to Isaiah Simmons here, Emilio? You good, man?
Yeah, no, there's no way we can sneak him out of the practice squad.
I think you could, possibly.
Maybe, right?
I mean, listen, let's say that PFF is everything, and everybody around the league looks at the tape and go, boy, that was a 29. Yeah, you shouldn't have any problem getting him on the practice squad,
yeah, right? That's fair.
Now, do I think there's another team that might get a little banged up at linebacker and say, hey, former first-round pick? Because, again, when teams go to sign free agents, especially as camp breaks, guys, the first thing they look at on the free agent list, go back to our draft grades. What grade do we have on him, right? So,
and I mean that's fair, but then they have to give up a roster spot to pull him, and if he wasn't, what we needed at the time to bring in, fine, we were just bringing in, just another body sort of thing, and we just had him as a backup. I'm not worried about that. They had to give up a roster spot to take this guy off of our practice squad.
Yeah, and if you could get him to the practice squad and then you get a little later in the season, somebody gets banged up, they're deactivated, you activate him off the practice squad, and bang, you got a special teams ace. Throw him out. Right, that's huge. So I like that, Emilio. That to me would be best case scenario, to be honest with you, is put him on the practice squad, call him up a few times when you need him on game day for special teams help. So, but we'll see.
You have to, right? Because you think if you put him there, you better call him up a couple times because he's going to be gone pretty quick. I mean, not super fast, but I don't think you'd hang around on a practice squad for too long, right?
No, I think it's number 9 on the list. Second-year cornerback Kalen King, a 2024 seventh-round pick from Penn State, battling for depth in the secondary after flashing ball skills in limited rookie action. King has been sticky in coverage during training camp and red zone opportunities last week. You guys know he had 2 end zone breakups. Really, they were in the red zone, obviously, but he broke the pass up in the end zone.
Built ass.
Against the Colts receivers, focus on his technique and consistency within the defensive calls. That's what I'm looking for. I want to know, Tim, that he knows exactly where to be. You know what I mean? That's the main thing, Emilio, I'm focusing on with Kalen King. I think he's got natural talent. You can see it in his ball skills and everything, the way he jumped the route. I think it was on family night. But show me that you know where the hell to be at all times. And it's kind of hard to look at that in preseason because everything is so vanilla, you know?
Yep. No, that's the case. And like we were saying earlier, he's only played 50 snaps in the slot or less than 50 in his college career. So we're asking him to do something a little bit different than he's used to. But at that 5'11", 190, you probably want him in the slot. Ideally, you don't want a 5'11", 5'10" kind of guy out on the boundary on the edge. But if he shows up and can play and can rotate and can go in, so Bull can go up, and play safety, if that's the option, perfect. The dude's had a year. Like, again, he's had an off season. He knows what the Packers need from him, and he's ready to try to make their team this year. I love that.
That's a great point.
Slide him to the practice squad.
That's a great point. 5'11", 190. What's Bullard? Isn't Bullard right around that kind of?
Maybe 6 foot.
Yeah, I was thinking. Let me look it up. I don't want to tell you the wrong way. I want to say he's right around that, maybe a little bit thicker. That's the one that Jeff Hafley actually said was.
Yeah,
thick.
that's what our infamous drop came from. Yeah, but
I want to say he's over 200 pounds. But
so a little bit thicker than Kalen. But to Emilio's point, I mean, at that build, yeah, I mean, if he's better suited in the slot and can consistently prove that he can be a reliable slot, I mean, my goodness, is he going to add value to this football team? Because it does free up Bullard to, back up Evan Williams and our safety room.
Right.
If we need to kick him back there, we have another option. We talk about Nate Hobbs being ready for week 1. We talk about Nate Hobbs playing the slot. We can also talk about Nate Hobbs playing on the boundary too. Mm-hmm. Maybe Kalen King is going to find a niche on this team as a slot guy.
Right.
Hey, Javon Bullard, real quick, Mia, sorry. AI over on Google says he is officially listed at 5'10", 198.
Wow. So basically the same exact build.
Yeah.
And if you get a guy, Tim, that has the ability to play boundary, but the team willingness to play the slot wherever they need him and not stomp his feet and be mad about it, that's the guy we need, right? That's the guy that's kind of got that right attitude, that right mentality.
That's what you need for a slot corner, right?
Yeah.
You need a guy that's willing to stick that head in there and go ahead and lower that boom and step up and play that role. Sometimes you've got corners that are better suited not to do that, right? They're better off on the boundary and, playing coverage. So, you get hybrid guys like a Bullard or a King, and this is where you need to put them. So I really hope Kalen King honestly makes this 53 this year, guys. I really do.
Tim, 22 and a half years old. 22 and a half years old.
You talk about no ceiling with this guy. And we were fired up when we drafted him, right? 7th round pick, I believe.
Oh, I was. Yeah, I was. Yeah. Because again, man, when let me hit this. United Base says I'm rooting for Kalen King, so AFAM's K King back tattoo makes sense again. Anyway, it's a family program.
I think the back tattoo said Kelsey on the back.
Oh, there you go. No, but the reason I was so high on Kalen King is the college season wrapped up. I'm going to try to explain this as best I know how, right? Because we drafted him in 2024, right? Yeah. So when when the draft happened in 2022, okay, in 2022, no, 2020, yeah, 2023, I should say.
Yeah.
When the draft happened in 2023, what I love to do is like the week or two after, I go immediately to the consensus big board and go, okay, what does everybody see for this next wave of prospects? Because this is before everything starts getting shaken up. Kalen
Right.
King was the top corner listed. And then all of a sudden he falls all the way to the 7th round throughout that course of his last college year. I know we've mentioned it a bunch of times, but I don't think I've explained it in that detail. That's how I remember that unfolding. And it's like, how do you go from being the top corner potentially in the draft to a 7th round pick? I'm not saying he was worthy of being the top corner, but all the way to the 7th probably needed to be somewhere between 3rd and 4th round, somewhere around there. You get him in the 7th, that's great value. So, all right, moving along here. Number 10, Bo Melton. I know y'all going to get excited over this. Wide receiver Bo Melton re-signed in the 2025 offseason, having now made the shift to cornerback, has looked the part so far. His greatest value lies within his special teams contribution. However, he has a great opportunity to prove his worth as a depth piece in Jeff Hafley's secondary. It's another guy, man. I want to see Kalen King and Bo Melton on the field together. I want to see Kalen King kicking into the slot. Let's see if he can prove he can play slot, right? Give me Bo Melton on the boundary. Let's see what this guy can do covering a boundary X. And I want to see Tyron Hopper in the middle of that defense. It's a 3 combination. I want to see that next wave of players like, okay, are they worthy of occupying a 53-man roster spot? More importantly, Kalen King and Bo Melton. Obviously, Tyron Hopper will be on the 53. But with Bo last week, his very, very first time playing cornerback, 29 reps. He played right cornerback. So, again, that's from the defense's perspective. So he played on the side that Carrington Valentine typically plays on, right? PFF grade was a 50.
Cheese curds and my stomach hurt all the time, but I do eat them, though.
A 51.6 defensive grade. Coverage grade was 46.7. Tackle grade 29.5. However, run defense grade 66.2. Like Coach LaFleur said, Tim, Bo's going to give you everything he's got, man. And it showed up on tape. There was a play or two where he did slide down in the run fit, and I was like, Bo is playing. He's doing everything in his power to play his ass off.
I'm telling you, I'm glad you brought that up. Like, are we entirely sure that Bo could slide into that slot role if we needed it? I mean, what's his measurables, right? 5'11", 180 something, 190. I mean,
it's right there in the sweet spot,
right in there too.
Yeah.
We haven't really seen that from him though, right? Like he just made this transition. And I think, at least from my perspective, the way I look at it, like, he's proven that he can make that transition. He has transitioned into a cornerback role. We talked about the technical aspect. Coach Lane and I were talking about that the other day. The fact that he's able to know, what a receiver is running before he even runs it, based on the formation, based on how he's lining up, based on how he's releasing, that gives Bo a distinct advantage. And if he marries that with the technical aspects of the game, the footwork and all these things we talk about with cornerback play, I'm not unconvinced that Bo could play slot. He could play on the boundary. Hell, he could be a, backup off-ball safety if we really needed him to be, I think, when it's all said and done. But again, we're looking at him to make another step tomorrow. Hopefully we see more of what we saw these past couple of weeks. But anyone who's saying that Bo Melton is a hybrid receiver / corner, I don't know. I think his role on this team is as a cornerback. If he's making the 53, he's making it as a corner. Maybe you get added value because in a pinch you could throw him out there as a receiver. You don't forget how to play receiver. But I'm excited about him as a corner, boundary or slot, honestly.
Absolutely, Tim. Obviously, it's some new stuff that he's been doing, backpedal instead of running forward, but he's not afraid to learn, not afraid to make a mistake and keep going. And you could kind of see it in his interviews. He's starting to like it a lot. He's starting to really feel it. He's starting to, you remember those days. He probably played it both ways in high school, right? So he probably remembers playing corner, backing up like, dude, it's not the same idea. He was talking about, hey, you got to try to go out there and make a catch when you're on offense. Now I'm trying to stop them from catching. I'm trying to punch it out. I'm trying to make a tackle. There's not as many number-wise things that you can do, but you can make things happen for the team a lot more on defense. You can show up for your teammates a lot more.
Yep. Great points. All right, number 11,
Dog.
I need that.
Here's the guy.
Cue up that music, Tim. Safety
Already
Katan
queued up.
Oladapo. And let it run for a minute.
Please
Even if
do.
you can't. Okay. Safety Katan is that a drill? Safety Katan Oladapo. Keep it going, Tim. Drafted in the 5th round in 2024 from Oregon State, is in his sophomore season and pushing for more playing time. His physicality and run support and range and coverage have been highlights of camp. In this matchup, keep tabs, crank it, Tim, on his tackling in the box against the Colts backs. Consistent play could make him a staple in the secondary rotation. Can I be honest with you guys? I haven't been that impressed with Oladapo, but I want to be so bad. What do you guys think about Katan here? 6'1", 217 is what PFF had him at. Not like horrible last week, 58 PFF grade, but that tackling grade, man, 79.6 is what he does well. There's no doubt about it. He's that guy. He's the quintessential spur safety. Put him down in the box and just let him attack the ball carrier.
I have been very excited about Oladapo. I know you're mad that he got that ball caught on him, that deep ball. I know that's your hang up right now. But Clay, right. The way he's moving the defense around when he's out there, telling people where to go, how to be,
communicate well.
He knows what he's doing. The fact that they're leaning on him aggressively after Zane went down, they're probably he's going to play some reps actually in games this year. I think. I don't think it's going to be come in mop up time. I really do think that he's gotten to the point where he's ready to go. Look at those numbers. I mean, yeah, he didn't have a great game. Defense just under 60 if you're looking at PFF grades, but that tackling is key. The run defense is key. You're right. He wants to come down. He wants to thump. He wants to hit. He had one ball got caught on him. If not, he probably would have had a 65-70 grade if he had broken that pass up.
Yeah, yep. I could not agree more with Ron Sample here either, man. I'm so disappointed he doesn't have the green and gold hair this year, man. Like, you got to paint that hair this year, Tim. You got it. Not you.
He's probably saving it for week one.
Why don't you tweet at him? Why don't you tweet at him and ask him if he can update the color, Clay?
It made it sound like just wait until week one, man. Tim, I'm not telling you to paint your hair, okay? No. All of a sudden, you end up working at a Starbucks somewhere. You know what I mean? I know how that works. But anyway.
I barely got enough hair to paint. What are you talking about? But no, to Emilio's point though, like you said, man, KT is a thumper, right? This guy is not afraid to go in there and lower the boom, right? So when you've got thumpers like that in the safety room, you don't bitch when they're missing coverages, right? You know that what they're bringing to the table is they know the system, they know the scheme, good communicators, and they're out there, headhunting, looking for somebody to hit. You need guys like that in your secondary. I'm okay with the occasional missed, coverage rep if he's wrapping guys up and lowering the boom, and I'm with you, Emilio. I'm ready to see it this year. Hopefully we get a lot more reps from KT Oladapo this season for sure.
Absolutely.
There you go. There is your 11 players that I'm looking to watch tomorrow. Is there anybody that didn't make the list here that we maybe didn't mention throughout the course of the show, guys, that y'all would just like to briefly hit on before we wrap up? Or do you think we've pretty much covered it there? I think Marshawn Lloyd was the one we didn't talk about that most people were wanting to see, right?
Yeah, bubble guys, there's not too many more. Maybe Omar Brown, Mike Robinson, a little bit of secondary look. Kind of keep an eye on the receivers. The only other one would maybe be John Fitzpatrick for me. See how the tight ends sort of do. Ben Sims, Swinson, see how those reps kind of work out.
Got it.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Anything else, man?
No, I would just echo Emilio's point about the tight ends. We're kind of looking at that bottom rung of the depth chart here tomorrow. Keep your eye on Swinson. Keep your eye on Sims. We talked about Fitzpatrick kind of maybe being in the lead there over Ben Sims right now. So if he puts another good performance together, he could solidify a spot on this team. Definitely don't sleep on the tight end room for sure.
There you go. And just a quick little update as we get ready to wrap the show up, guys. There is actually a live preseason game going on right now. It's on our local channel down here in Tennessee, but if you're out of market, I think you can get it on NFL Network. The Titans are beating the Falcons 13-10. Again, don't focus on the score. Let's focus on the individuals. How's everybody performing? Cam Ward, your number one overall pick, he started the game for the Titans 2 of 7 for 42 yards. So not that good. Brandon Allen came in 8 of 11 there for 90 yards, threw a touchdown and a pick already. If we switch over to the Falcons side, Easton Stick is the only quarterback that's played so far, 14-23 for 92 yards, and he threw a pick as well. So, again, Ryan Schlipp did a great job of covering this the other day on the pod, on his pod on Packernet podcast. If you think that the sky is falling for the Packers, do yourself a favor. Stop for a second, step back, and go through Twitter and look at other teams. Everybody's fan base is freaking out right now. Like, your number one overall pick, preseason game, just threw 7 passes and only completed 2 of them. You think there's not Titan fans going, oh, crap. Is this guy going to be a bust? It's preseason. Calm down.
Yep.
Nobody's scheming anything. People are probably sitting some of their starters just like we are. Just enjoy it, man. Football's back, and focus on the individual matchups, man. Again, fan how you want to fan. That's how I fan in the preseason. I'm looking at it like, hey, what does this guy bring to the table? What can he add to the team? What does he do well? What does he need to work on? And where does he fit on the 53? Can we slide him on the practice squad? Those are the fun conversations this time of year. So,
yep.
All right. Anything else, boys? We good?
Good.
We're good.
All right.
Packer football tomorrow, baby.
Yeah, you got it. I'm so excited. So, again, guys, we're going to go live 1 hour before kickoff. Okay, I'll create the stream as soon as we get everything uploaded here in the podcast form. Exactly, Joseph. RELAX. Relax. So we'll be going live for the pregame show tomorrow. And then, obviously, as soon as the game wraps up, we're going to do a quick post-game show before me and Emilio head down to the Redneck Brawl. You guys, I can't promise there's going to be a Sunday show because we might need to bail us out of jail. We don't know how this is going to go down here. Don't make sure the kids aren't in the room, and just go to your IG account and just type in Redneck Brawl and make sure the volume's way down, okay? You're going to see the Fox promo. It's unbelievable, man. I'm telling you. Somebody's going to get hit in the meth mouth tomorrow. That's going to happen.
Could be a crackhead.
It will be, Tim. It ain't could be. It will.
Got hold to the wrong stuff.
So anyway, we'll see you guys tomorrow for the pregame show 1 hour before kickoff. Thank y'all so much for making us part of your evening here on Friday. We had a heck of a crowd too, man. The chat was on fire. If y'all would just hit that like button on the way out. We'll see y'all tomorrow. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world. And go Pack, go.
Here we go. We're out. Bye, guys.